Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Girls on Deck. Here to talk some MLB playoffs and UCF football with me is Hannah Russo. Hannah, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Excited to be here.
Yes.
How do you feel? How does it feel to be on your first episode of Girls on Deck?
I'm excited, but I'm a little nervous, so I'm hoping it goes really well.
No, it'll be fine. We're pretty casual here. So, big thing in sports right now is the MLB playoffs. The wild card series have just ended, and it's now going to the NLDS and the ALDS. So, Hannah, what are your thoughts on the games from the past?
I think they have been really interesting. I didn't expect the Miami Marlins to make it this far.
I don't think anyone did.
No, they haven't had a very good record in seasons past, but here they are. And also the San Diego Padres are making their first postseason appearance since, I believe, 1998?
Yes, it's been pretty. It's the year of the underdogs.
It really is.
You know, I think it's exciting amidst teams that, the Marlins were called the bottom feeders. So now that, they're using that to their advantage, and I really think it is the year of the bottom feeders. So
it is. But the Padres are going to have a difficult one considering they have a pitching staff rotation with both of their top two pitchers out at the moment.
Yes. No, I'm a little nervous for the Padres, but I can't help it. I love my Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw against the Brewers threw for 13 strikeouts and 8 scoreless innings, and that's something that, a lot of people argue that Kershaw hasn't been consistent in the postseason. I think he told everyone to shut up, basically.
He did.
At that game, and I think I'm excited. He's starting our second game for us, for the Dodgers in this upcoming series, so I'm excited to see how he performs.
Yeah, it's going to be good, especially with the Dodgers ranked number 1 in the National League for this postseason during playoffs.
But with players like Fernando Tatis Jr., I can't help but have a little nervousness for the Dodgers. I think that's probably the series upcoming that I'm most excited about, along with the Oakland A's and Astros, because Mike Fiers will be seeing his old teammates again.
Oh, yes, especially since he's the one that called them out for cheating back in 2017.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm interested. I'm expecting arguments. I kind of hope. I love a good baseball fight. Sorry. So it's going to be an interesting game to see. I am low-key rooting for the A's. Sorry, Astros fans. But
oh, no, I am too. I can't stand the Astros.
Can't stand it. Carlos Correa.
Jose
Free Joe
Altuve.
Kelly. Yes, but so really excited to see how the playoffs turn out. Again, I want the Dodgers to win. Who's your team?
So for the National League, I'm going to say it's the Dodgers,
Okay.
but American League, big Yankees girl.
Oh, no. Oh, no. All right. I could see it, though. I hate the Yankees, but, I mean, I can't help it.
Grown up in a family of New York Yankees fans,
okay.
so
it's
bred
deep
into
rooted,
me.
deep rooted. Okay. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little more about the Marlins. Stay tuned.
Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying today's episode on Hitting the Field Network. On my show, Take Me Out to the Podcast, we're bringing you the latest in MLB news and some incredible interviews with some incredible people, including Bobby from Outta Here Baseball, Bailey from Foolish Baseball, Dawson Wright, Alec Palmer from Momentum, and so many more. Be sure to tune in to Take Me Out to the Podcast every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, only on HTFN.
And we're back to discuss the most unpredicted thing this season in baseball, the Marlins winning the Wild Card Series. What are your thoughts on this?
Honestly, I'm a little surprised. They haven't been doing well in seasons past, and I definitely wouldn't have picked them out from this season. But at the beginning of July, going into the 60-game regular season after quarantine, they were at a 300-1 odd to win the World Series. So
yeah, considering their last season they lost 105 games in 2019. It's just, when I say no one expected it, like, I think it was like a joke in my family, like, haha, the Marlins take it all this year. Like, I didn't think so. And then they had, back in July, they had a bunch of players out because of coronavirus, and I was like, for sure no. And then ended up going on a winning streak with those players out even.
Yeah.
So, like, they've consistently just been shocking everyone this season.
Mm-hmm. But entering this NLDS series against the Braves, they are not at a very good odd of winning. They are at 29.3% winning, with the Braves taking 70.7%.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that is going to be difficult. The Braves are just older team, just more experienced teams, and that's something that is going to be a disadvantage for the Marlins. Yes, they're a young team that has proven their place, obviously, but going into the Braves, it's, again, you never know what can happen, because the Cubs, I thought the Cubs were going to win, but Chris Bryant said in an interview after, he was like, they were just better than us. Like, there's no other way around it. So, with players like Sixto Sanchez, I think is going to be something that the Marlins need to hold on to. I mean, he had 5 scoreless innings with 6 strikeouts against the Cubs. The 7th youngest pitcher with the start of 5 or more scoreless innings pitched in his postseason debut. I mean, this guy is breaking records. He's only 22 years old, and they're comparing him to some of baseball's greatest pitchers.
Yes. He's a very dynamic pitcher, too. He's come out and he's shown what he can really do on the Miami mound.
Absolutely. So players like Sixto Sanchez, Garrett Cooper, who had the solo home run against the Cubs, these are the players that are going to take them. Again, you said the odds against the Braves are small, and I do think this is where the Braves take it, and they kind of back out and lose their 7-0 playoff winning streak, the Marlins, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as fans think.
Yes, the Marlins do have an aggressive offense that they're not dependent on homers as many of the other major league teams are. So they're probably going to take this game in runs and loading the bases. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how it adds up against the Braves.
Absolutely. And I think, the Braves seeing that they beat the Cubs, I think it's making them sweat a little bit,
It is.
I think that's what's happened throughout the season is the Marlins are winning, and these teams are like, wait, this is not supposed to happen. Like, this is supposed to be our easy game, like our easy series to get through, and it's proving to not be that. So I'm excited to see their performance. They have Don Mattingly as their manager, and I think he's done a phenomenal job. I definitely think manager of the year is something in his future for sure.
Yes.
He's been the Marlins manager for a while, but I think this year specifically he's proven how good of a manager he is.
And he'll probably get that award closing this season following this series and depending on where they end up in the NLCS.
Absolutely. So staying on with the Marlins, we hope to see them prosper more in the playoffs, but if they don't, it was a good run and something they could definitely be proud of.
Oh, yes.
Next, we'll be talking to Noah Kemper about UCF football. Stay tuned.
I have a very special guest, Mr. Mike Golick Jr. Let me tell you, this is one of the nicest guys I have met so far in this industry. So thank you so much for coming and talking to me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, listen, smart move. I am not immune to flattery, so buttering me up on the way in is the absolute right way to do this. You're learning already.
That was the goal. I had it in my notes.
Hello and welcome back to Girls on Deck. Here we are with Noah Kemper to talk UCF football. This past Saturday, UCF lost in a game they should have won, 34-26. Giving Tulsa their first ranked win since 2010 and ending the second longest active home streak in college football. So, Noah, what are your thoughts on this in general?
Well, I thought it was kind of disappointing that we did fall to Tulsa, but there were a few high points like Jalen Robinson bringing in another huge game with 111 reception yards and Williams bringing in 98 reception yards. But I feel like in total it was just a disaster as we had 18 penalties for 124 yards, which is just unacceptable.
Absolutely. And many fans have taken to social media to discuss their disdain for head coach Josh Heupel. Do you agree with the notion that he should be fired, or what are your thoughts on it?
I don't think he should be fired just yet because the season has just started and we did bring in a lot of new players, so there's still time to turn it around, but we can't keep losing games like this or else he might actually be fired by the end of the year.
So you think it was play calls, or what do you think inevitably lost it for them?
I think it was the offensive line. They had too many penalties, putting the UCF's offense in poor position with 1st and 15 or 2nd and 15, forcing the quarterback to throw it deeper and, resulting in more incomplete passes. So
relating to Dylan Gabriel, do you think that in an interview before this game, after they won against Georgia Tech, he said he called UCF the best team in Florida. Now that kind of bit him in the butt this past weekend. Do you think it was his fault, or do you think other factors really contributed to the loss a little more than him?
Definitely don't think it was all on him, as I still think, he played well. He threw for over 300 yards, 1 touchdown, But, I mean, there were a few flaws, but, again, it wasn't his fault because his offensive line kept putting him in tough positions over and over again. And right now he sits second for receiving yards in college football, which is very great. So I don't think all of it's on him.
All right, and jumping in, I have a few questions to make you think. Looking forward to November, if UCF continues to add penalties, what will the USF game look like on Black Friday, considering that they do have a 5-star running back recruit?
Josh Heupel needs to get it together because the penalties have piled up the first 3 games. It has not been good, and if it continues against USF, it will just be a disaster. And because we also need to plan our defense too, because in the second half, UCF never adjusted to Tulsa, giving them the win. And if they do the same thing against USF, they might be losing another game.
And if they don't adjust their defense and continue to let other teams win in the second half, what do you think it's going to look like for future games, especially after their bye week this week?
If UCF keeps racking up the penalties, and I mean, I think fans probably will, the attendance might drop, and I think Coach Heupel will be fired because UCF used to be great with penalties, used to not have many. That was Frost, the old coaches, like that was kind of his thing. He was able to adjust and get us to a win in the second half, and so far I have not seen that at all this season.
Thank you so much, Noah, for joining us. It was really good talking to you, and we hope that UCF has a more optimistic season from here on out. Stay tuned.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
And welcome back to our final thoughts of the day. Talking some big news in sports right now is the NFL and COVID-19.
Definitely an interesting one, especially when they entered the season, they had 66 players opt out of all 32 teams.
Which is already hurtful to an NFL team. You know, they need every single player on their roster, every single starter. Mm-hmm. And Cam Newton from the Patriots has just come up with COVID-19, so he will not be playing in their game on Monday. And that affects teams. That's like, it's not like in baseball or basketball, you have other players you can throw in there and it's easy. It's like, you need Cam Newton. If Patrick Mahomes gets COVID, the Chiefs, that's it.
They're done.
They're done. So it's, compared to other sports, it's tricky. It's tricky in football.
It is. And Cam Newton has said recently that he doesn't have any symptoms, but he's still taking time back to watch himself and to make sure that he's keeping his team safe and himself healthy.
And I think another thing to think about is, you know, this is football season. They need to be in their best shape. And if a player has to stop working out for a week or two, that's detrimental to the team as a whole. So I think it's something to note. And then the Titans and the Patriots right now are under investigation because the Titans had like 19 players test positive.
They did. That's most of the team.
Yeah, an absurd amount. And I mean, so something was going wrong there. You know, they weren't following some sort of protocol. So both teams are under investigation right now to see what went wrong. And, you know, hopefully they were following protocol because it'd be stupid not to. But, you know, it could come out that they weren't. And that's what's going to mess up this football season for everyone else. And so it's going to be interesting to see how teams can figure out a game plan if they lose their star players.
Exactly, because I know the NFL put a lot of new protocols in place at the start of the season with a corona COVID-19 reserve list and with limiting how many people are at practice, extending training camps, and eliminating preseason. So the fact that they are losing players this far into the season already is a little insane.
Exactly. And again, football's not, you know, you have baseball and basketball are longer seasons, and football, it's 10 games. That's it in the regular season. So it's not like you can miss a game and it's, not that big of a deal. No, like every game counts in football. So it's it's something that the teams are really going to have to figure out and really like put their foot down with following protocols.
Oh, yeah, and especially going back to the Patriots versus the Chiefs because they're playing each other, I believe, this upcoming week. Mm-hmm. Patrick Mahomes is really looking to keep his title from last season of being a great quarterback. But without Cam Newton, the Patriots have to throw in one of their second relievers of their second starting line. So it'll be an interesting game to see what they pull off and how they go into it, especially because Cam Newton hasn't been playing very well this season because he came in on an injury, I believe.
Yes, but at the end of the day, it's, he's better than their second string. The Patriots lost Tom Brady last season. Haven't had Rob Gronkowski. It's like they needed Cam Newton.
They were relying on him.
Especially going up against Patrick Mahomes, like they needed a veteran quarterback to go up against such a powerhouse of a quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is number one. So how do you do that without him? And again, I think teams like the Chiefs and, like Aaron Rodgers, these star quarterbacks of the NFL need to be scared about getting COVID because it could affect their team's outcome. Yeah,
it doesn't only affect them, it affects all the other people that look up to them and their teams.
Absolutely.
And it makes other teams that are playing them excited because it's an easy win.
Exactly, yeah. In all seriousness, it's something that's very serious, and I think these players need to take it serious. These teams need to take it serious. Follow the protocol that's been laid out for you. It's really not that hard. I don't know why everyone didn't just do a bubble. Like, the NBA had it so
They could have done it
well.
so easily.
It's really not that hard. Just
No, put it in Texas. Put it in California. Somewhere where there's a lot of land.
Exactly. Doesn't make sense to me, but we'll see how the football season goes and the rest of sports in general for this season. Thank you so much, Hannah, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been really fun talking to you. Be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much.